Hello and welcome to what will be an evening of poetry readings here on ChinnyVision, and we start with one of my very favourite poems. Between 8 and 7:30. This place is awful quiet. Have to do my shopping. Take care of my diet. I run around in circles and never see a soul. Late at night, early in the morning light, you can see them all. Late at night, early in the morning light, you can feel them all. That's enough of that. Hello, I hope you're all okay. Oh, it's been a little bit stressful getting this set up since I had this stupid idea and then decided to make it way more complicated than it needed to be. I'm hoping the audio levels are okay because my setup's telling me I'm peaking at 5, but the thing is, everything's actually streaming off the Mac, which is over there, and the screen actually has its rear to me. All I can see is an Apple logo. Everything over here, this box here, couldn't possibly stream anything at all. I've got my not iDevice, my Samsung Galaxy Tab, which I hate, but you know, cost and everything. Why? Oh, it wants me to buy their app. I did have my Hotmail open. So the deal is tonight we're going to have a little chat on the comments and everywhere else. Oh, will you just behave yourself, computer? Because everything was set up and then it logged me out. And we're going to have a little chat. You can talk to me in the comments. And if you email chinnyhill10@hotmail.com, what I think we can do, and I haven't actually tested this yet, but I was doing something similar for work last week, so we can try doing it, but not on this setup. If you email chinnyhill10@hotmail.com, I will email you back with a link, and then you can have a two-way chat with me live on the air. It's like late night talk radio, because there's no games. There's no games. I'm not doing that. I'm not Nikki and Bunty. I can't sit there, play a game, and talk to you. I would just have some kind of meltdown doing that. Sometimes I try. I don't like it. I'm quite happy sitting behind a microphone and just talking endlessly. And I've got my wine. My wine is in my ChinnyVision. Actually, this bit's not natural. Having a little bit there. I just like happily talking to myself, as I do most of the days in my head. That's what happens when you work for yourself. And I've got my ChinnyVision mug here, and it does have... Oh, I've got this wine up to there. This could get interesting. Cote de Nymon or something. Nims. They're available, chinnyvision.com. If you don't already have one, phone number does work. I just swapped a Mayword for Scalar. Someone got the joke. That's good. And I'm going to try and keep on top of the comments. So who we got in? And I got Ronnie in, left back. Rod Hull from The Future Was 8-Bit. Jonathan Holt. Mark. Neil Lovely. Nikki and Bunty. Don't know if it's Nikki or Bunty or both. But hello to you all. MadGaz85. The problem with this screen is it's brilliant when you're doing voiceover and stuff like that, but actually when it's quite far away, it's very, very small. Who else we got in? I can't see. Hey Humpuds. Come on, call chat back 0898 50 50 50. And hello. So yeah, if you email me on that number, that email address, chinnyhill10@hotmail.com, you will come up in my Hotmail, and then I will swear a bit at my Galaxy tab, and or you might end up in a junk folder, and I can just send you a link for Clean Feed, and we can have a chat on the air. And what a week it's been! Yes, ho ho ho. No Chinny. Well, there was a ChinnyVision on Thursday, but basically in life, what I say is, if something becomes too much stress and hassle, just let go. Just let go. And the comments were getting too much, and I thought, you know what? I could spend the next week trying to firefight this stuff, and it's just not worth it. I've had a very few kind people ask me if I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm very, very relaxed about it. But I just thought, you know, if people are going to be like that, let's just nip it in the bud and we do it all again next week with another game, and that's fine. Rather than have this internet drama and stuff. See, even me talking about it now is internet drama, I suppose, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there and say, you know, everything's fine, everything's cool. I just didn't want that going on. Just walk away. Someone's having, wants to have a fight with you or what have you, just walk away. Not that someone's trying to have a fight with me. You know what I mean. So, comments are, oh dear, this is the problem with, I don't like Twitch. I may have mentioned this. I like YouTube, but I don't actually like live streaming at all. And one of the problems is I want to have a conversation with everyone. They're just going past quite fast. Hi to Rosie, Hayhen Puds. Perhaps I need glasses. Perhaps I can actually see this. Perhaps I need glasses. Retro HQ, Jonathan Holt. What have we got going on here? You need to buy more ChinnyVision pens. I have lots. They're quite hardy, Jumpy Man, but there's a giant spring inside these. Right, I broke one. I've had it in the back of my laptop bag. I opened it up and it snapped in half. There's a massive spring in there. I don't know what it does. It's not the spring down there, and it's not the spring up there. Just in the middle, there's a massive spring. I don't know what it's for. I've got absolutely no idea what it's for. Geiger Punk, you missed the drama. Good for you. You don't need the drama. Everything is fine. Yeah, I mean, everyone on Patreon saw that video as well. It was up for about 6 weeks up there because it wasn't one of my favourites, and it just like, well, you know, it can go 1 week when things are, you know, I just want to put it out. And nobody on Patreon had a problem, and then just kind of 90 minutes of being online, just like, pfft, get rid of it. Who else we got? We'd love to see that video at some future point. I've just went and deleted it completely. It no longer exists. It is gone. Yes, as I say, walk away, cut loose, just make a decision, and that's it. It wasn't one of my favourite videos anyway. If I'd cared more, I would have perhaps tried to fight for it. But just not worth it. Oh, someone at work stole your ChinnyVision. They are good pens. I have the same pens for work. I have work pens made up with the work logo on them, and everyone says how much they like them. Anyone who knows me for work can have one for free. Not a ChinnyVision pen, the work ones. Hello to Wayne. And yeah, they're not, I use them, and they're black ink and all the rest of it. These are the ChinnyVision mug. I'm going to have a sip of wine. Look, you see, got the little thing there. That works. That works. That is great. Just trying to keep an eye on the... See, no one's been brave enough yet to email me at chinnyhill10@hotmail.com to see if they want to come online with me and have a chat here on the live stream. It can be late night talk radio. By the way, I should probably be... Where's my phone gone? Where's everything gone? I've gone over... I need to go over there a minute and get my phone, because then I could tweet this is actually happening and tell the Discord guys this is actually happening. And 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We're just going to go over there without knocking everything. With no drama. I can keep talking to you, but it's gated, that microphone, so I might disappear. Here we go. I'm back again. La 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 la. La la la. I bought a new phone case. That's because Mrs. Chinny decided she also wanted a Google Pixel, and I kept on picking up her phone, which was quite annoying. So we could tweet that we are live. I don't know how I do that. I should have probably prepared all this beforehand, but yeah. So not used your mug yet. I assume that's blue tinted left back. And Kevin Toms is haunting Jumpy Man from September ChinnyVision calendar. He's haunting my vision on the right hand side as well. Although with the light in my face, I can't actually see the other two faces who are secreted away in there. Let's try and... Oh, ChinnyVision, how do you do it with... So YouTube Manager is useless for this, evidently. And I just should be... You need a Nikki or a Bunty, i.e. be a pair, and then you can actually just kind of have someone beside you to help you sort all this stuff out. I'm going to share that copy link, and we can get it on Twitter. But yeah, chinnyhill10 at hotmail.com if you want to come on. I feel like a local radio presenter who's not getting any calls. But that's effectively what this is. Live now. Now I'm going to stick that in there and put that there. And then ChinnyVision has a Discord channel as well, if you didn't know, which I do link to from time to time. I'm going to paste that in there. And it's just nice people having a chat. Very nice people. Everyone on there is absolutely lovely. And, we've got a few great mods as well. Chrissy, Ultra Steve, and so on, who kind of share the workload with me. So we've got all that. And lots of other cool stuff as well. ChinnyVision next week. What will ChinnyVision next week be? It might well be Turbo Outrun. May well be Turbo Outrun. But who knows? I tend to make these decisions very last minute. What I feel like on a Wednesday night when I've got to set it all up to go. Because there's a lot of videos all ready to go, as ever. But it's the ones I put out, really. Depends what you're kind of putting out. What odds at Drunk Chinny shows is I'm not going to show that. I'm not going to do anything like that. There is a bit more wine in there than I expected. But hey-ho. Alan Sugar is one of the other faces. Yes, Clumpy Man. And Jimmy Hill as well. And Steve hid those. Steve Green, who is a professional designer. Hire him. He is brilliant. Did that calendar for the channel, which is very kind of him. And he hid those two faces in there. And we are... I wasn't going to do another calendar next year, especially because I didn't want to push anything onto Steve, but there's been discussion on the Discord, and I'm really, if Steve's up for it and wants to do it, then it may well happen. What I didn't want to do is go, hey, remember that calendar you did completely for free last year? Do you want to do another one? Whereas my attitude actually was, don't say anything, and held we top last year, but we will see if we're going to do that. We're having a little DMs going back and forth. I need to make a decision soon, and if I want him to do it or not, if you see what I mean. Not that it's not my decision, it's his decision, but he seems to want to do it, so it's kind of like because we're September now, we've got to get them printed, it takes a while, design, blah blah blah. So we need to be deciding that stuff. But if we do it, then it certainly will be if offset litho printed again, because it looks brilliant. It makes all the other calendars look rubbish because they're all digital. ChinnyVision calendar is, I think, one of the probably the only retro calendar that's gone to a proper offset litho shop somewhere in Germany actually, and gets printed. And we also pay for the glossy bit on the front to have all that varnishing done. And yes, they're expensive, but they cost quite a bit to get made. Then it's not. It's not a huge... It's all money that goes back into the channel, but it's like there's not a huge amount, even though they go out for, was it $16.99, something like that. By the time you've shipped it, shipping is £3.30 in the UK. By the time you've done everything else, you've got them here, you've got them printed, you've paid for those little bit of extras like the lacquering of the front, then actually it's not a huge amount, but, I think hopefully we will do that. What else we got in the comments? Turbo Outrun will be interesting. Turbo Outrun actually has real-world recording on it. Actual real-world recording. So it's real-life action, location recording. I did something in the car for that. And that's quite good. That's already on Patreon. Because you do have Patreon as well, and that's entirely optional for people to come along to. It's not obligated. Anyone can pay what they want. There's a couple of reward levels, but it's a $1 thing, and it gets you previews and extra bits and so on. It's just kind of the thing about Discord and the Patreon are mainly about fostering a sense of community of great people, and that was emphasised to me on the events of Thursday night. But actually, a perfectly reasonable video can sit up for however many weeks as a preview on there. Everyone comments, everyone is fine. It's only actually when you let it out to the masses, it all goes horribly wrong. And it's the same with the Discord. We have a chat on there. All the people on there are great. Do join that. I linked to that on Twitter. We don't do any Facebook or anything like that. Is that a stairs banister next to you? I'm in an attic, not in landing. That is a stairs banister. I'm in my work office. I'm on the first floor here. This is my recording place where I record test voiceovers mainly. Sometimes I record a few for work, but I'm not very good at that kind of thing. I'd rather have a professional do it. But this is all my work equipment and stuff like that. And ChinnyHill10@hotmail.com. Someone's got to be brave enough. Right, somebody is. Okay, I'm going to do the magic. I'm going to try and do the magic. I'm going to keep on talking whilst I do the magic. So there's some buttons I need to click now. And oh, look, my clean feed account's kicked me out. I'll leave it all set up here. It all works. You can see my Galaxy thing here. It all works. ChinnyHill10 is muted. I don't want to be muted. I want to connect. I want to connect to Chinny1. And I want to get his... Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Come back. You see, you'd have a producer here. Ian is so ready to do this. And if my box plays ball, I'm probably going off mic here. Paste it there. Right, Ian, I'm sending you an invite. And hopefully this is going to work. I called you Chinny1. I need to check which fader you're on. I haven't tested this. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I was making podcasts for a client in the week, and yeah, it's all... we had all this kind of fancy stuff going on with I was doing it on my laptop, not this tablet thing, so goodness knows. I'm curious how it happened. Kicked off the user's house. Geiger Punk, just drama. It's just drama. You don't need to worry about it. It's really... Don't walk away. We can have endless days of this stuff on Twitter. Reprisals. People going on and on and on about stuff and it just being reoccurring and it all pops back in a month later. Just walk away. It's easy. Don't just... it's nice and straightforward. You don't need to have the details. You don't need... no one needs to have the fuss or anything like that. It's happened. It's over with. We are on a Saturday night and there'll be a video next week. Nikki and Bunty is not as easy to make. I want to scroll your comments there and I can't. Ian, I've sent you your invite, so you should have one, hopefully, coming through. Nikki and Bunty, that email works. Someone said something. Did the 3DS... I didn't do 3DS. Oh, someone's got blocked. Chronosoft got blocked. Not by me, by the software. Chronosoft got blocked by the software, so they need to... Ian needs to get his email and... and hopefully he should be able to come online, hopefully, and that will work. But there's a delay between me talking as well compared to what you're hearing, so it's not instant. So there could be a buffer and so on. Social media is a cesspool of filth. It's a social media. I mean, it is and it isn't. There's great people on. I know absolutely fantastic people on there. So, you know, it's just, you get comments on YouTube, you get weird people, it just stuff happens. Stuff happens. It's just kind of, yeah, I mean, and when you're putting yourself out there, Geiger Punk, the thing is, you know, it's who you surround yourself with and who just turns up, like we're having a barbecue with my goddaughter earlier, goddaughters, 2 of them, and wasps turn up. And it's like, hey, yeah, the wasps. And it's like that, we're having a nice time, then the wasps turn up. But at least it wasn't the hornets this time, so that's good. Because I've been seeing them in the last few days as well. So hopefully that went out. Any more? Anyone else want to jump in with a ChinnyVision10@hotmail.com and I'll try and send you a clean feed link. Because this should be working. This should absolutely be working. Once you've got your Chrome, you connect, you should absolutely be connecting and fine. Especially if I turn my special little box on so the computer can hear it again. There you go. You surround yourself with football Twitter. So it's a lovely release at times. I mean, your football Twitter, goodness me. Oh. Yes, you see that sometimes, don't you? Yeah. Everyone's getting the Noel Edmonds reference. That's good. That's good. and never really fuel for any fires. Some people want to be, actually, that's it. If you walk away, they're not getting what they want, do they? And that's the cool thing. I'm going to send Ian his invite again, you know. I'm going to send Ian his invite again because I don't know if I hit that. I'm going to type Ian. Paste that there. It looks legitimate in there. We'll see. Hi, Chloe. Just seen Chloe in, and I've sent Ian another invite, and we'll see if it works. The bees. UK India wrestling Twitter is the worst. Oh, you don't like our favourite wrestler? Here's a screenshot of you saying something mildly dodgy in 2009. Oh, I'd upset them all. I'd say Les Kellett. Les Kellett's my favourite wrestler, as is any right-minded person. Giant Haystacks as well. We could do that. We can do all that stuff. Yeah, I only understand old wrestling. I don't understand the new stuff. It's all a bit nuts, really, isn't it? It's very good, but very short book called The Wrestling, written about 20 years ago. It talks all about UK wrestling and how it kind of happened and the characters involved. A very good read. I think you can get it for literally pennies on Amazon, Kindle, and stuff like that. No Jeremy Beadle hand reference. I don't think we've got just one further away, one closer. Just email on that. If you want to come on, just email me on that address, and I will send you a link. And you have to click on Clean Feed, the link just in Chrome, and you can come on. It's very, very simple. ChinnyHill10@hotmail.com. I have sent Ian 2 invites to come on. I've not had any contact back in my Clean Feed, so I don't know if Ian's having problems or if I've done something wrong. If there's someone else, Geiger Punk, why do you come on? Come on, we know what you sound like. Or Nikki and Bunty or someone. Nikki and Bunty, I could. I don't have Skype on here. I don't know. This should work. It should absolutely work. This. There's no reason why. Oh, apart from that, it's logged me out again. Come on. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for a connection. We can do this. We can do this. Somebody else has got... Everyone who posts a phone number basically gets blocked by the kind of monitoring thing that I've had nothing to do with. So I've just let you through there, Jonathan. Don't know why. It just doesn't like that. I've got a little fan behind me. I'm going to put it on. Just to cool me down there. Just for a second. Nice gentle breeze. If you can hear that, then I'm sorry if it's distracting you. What else have we... I've got my... waving my Ventolin thing in the way. That looks really good, doesn't it? You want to see my medication. I'm not going to drop dead, by the way. I just took it out of my pocket and put it down there, as you do. That's how I cracked my whip on Christmas Day, because I fell over on the beach onto one of these. It was there. You can't see that, but right there. And I fell over and cracked my rib. So that was nice. The email will be sent, Neil. Lovely. Right, we're going to try Martin H. has come in. Right. I'm going to just get my... No, don't do that. Oh, I'm getting along with the Samsung tablet so hard, so well. But, what's your name, Martin? I'm going to call you Martin. If you are Martin, I don't know. It is Martin, right? You are called Martin. I have to do a setup stage here. Right, I'm sending invite. I have sent Martin an invite to his Gmail account. And I'm hoping if he gets there, clicks on the link, and he will appear on my screen. Broadcasters use this software. It should work. This should work, right? It may sound terrible once we connect and I've turned on phantom power, which I don't want. To my microphone. Turn that off. Don't want phantom power. Don't want phantom power. Don't have tiny fingers enough. There we go. Phantom power is where you send up power at the microphone to power microphone like the big one here. And what we got there, we have got Martin has joined. Right, okay, I'm going to click on Martin and hello, Martin.
Hello, Chinny.
Excellent. Hello, we've got a caller. So what's your question, caller? What do you want to talk about here on the Chinny live stream?
Oh, good question. Okay, if you had the space for any arcade machine in your house, which would it be?
Oh, great question. Great question. I think it would probably be any arcade machine. Any Space Harrier. Not only because it's a great game, right? Not only because it's a great game, because if I could get that thing in my house, I'd be so minted. I'd just have a giant house, and therefore I'd be able to get loads of arcade machines in. Because there's no way I'm getting a Space Harrier machine, or indeed any arcade machine, into my house at the moment. I could, so if I can get any machine, Space Harrier is my favourite. It's the one I saw that thing in Southsea when it came out. Southsea down at Portsmouth, near Clarence Pier, near the hovercraft port. And it just arrived one day. We used to go down on Sundays. We used to go quite a lot because my mum was ill at the time. So we didn't go too far. We're just going to go for a walk along the front on a Sunday. Must have been like 86. And this thing was there one week. It looked amazing. Just off. Right at the front, because they put the really expensive ones at the front. And then a few weeks later we went there. It was a massive queue to get on it. I mean, unbelievable. And you saw this stuff, and there's no way you're going to get on it because you'd have to wait half hour. And then sometime after that, and I was only like 9, I got on it. My dad stumped up the 50p. It was a lot of money in those days. I went on it, died instantly, but I was hooked. And there was always like, when you're playing it, you're like the most popular kid anywhere because there was this crowd around you watching you play it. It was so just utterly just amazing. So yeah, I mean, definitely Space Harrier. So if you could have a arcade machine yourself, what would you have?
I'd probably have to go with Daytona. I mean, that thing. I mean, immense 4-player cabinet.
It's a really. I mean, Daytona. It's a little bit after my time from going to the arcade. I appreciate it, and you do have that 4-player thing, and I've seen people play it, but you really need to have 3 friends to play it with to get the most out of it. And I don't have 3 friends. I went on the 4-player. I don't know what the name of it was, but it was the virtuality machines, the virtual reality ones running on Amigas in the Trocadero, and they didn't fill up all 4 machines. I think there were 2 other people, but I spent the entire time just trying to focus my eyes on the screen because I couldn't. It's like, I'm not sure, so I don't wear glasses or long sight or anything like that, but I just couldn't focus on it. And then about halfway through the game, which I think cost like £5, certainly, yeah, I think it was. It's either £2 or £5. So I'd be able to actually be able to drive, and I think I came second in the race in the end because I was less bad than the woman who was playing, who probably had exactly the same problems, that she couldn't focus on the screen. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my experience of those multiplayer games. So Martin, what retro games are you playing at the moment?
I'm on the Stardot forum at the moment, and we're playing Breakout.
Oh, I love.
No, sorry, Arkanoid.
I love the Arkanoid port on the Beeb, and I love Stardot. I say a lot of things about BBC owners back in the day being nerdy type people, and the Stardot lot are so helpful. They are super helpful and been so important for the channel, helping me out, sending me stuff on SD cards to use, and a couple of them particularly have been really helpful. And indeed, one member sold me that his spare Archimedes because I was having all those problems. So I absolutely love, along with the CPC Wiki lot, Stardot and CPC Wiki, two of the 2 best retro forums online. That without question.
Yeah, I will say that Stardot been really friendly.
Oh, they're great, and they have all those meets, and I might go to one. I don't know, I might go to one day, but I'm not enough of a BBC expert, even though I've owned one since '94. That's, you know, I am a long-term BBC owner, even if I'm not an expert. But thanks for calling, Martin. Really appreciate it, and have a fantastic evening.
And you.
Cheers. So it does work. It does work. Right, so anyone else wants to come on? See, I don't bite. We have a nice chat. Great to hear from Martin there. Great to hear from someone on Stardot. I will keep looking on my Hotmail. We have a name I recognise. A name I recognise there. So I'm going to email. I just need to copy and paste their address and get them onto clean feed. See, you're in local radio, commercial local radio. You have someone to do this for you, but luckily my background is, well, as well as BBC local radio, actually commercial local radio, where we used to have to do everything ourselves, and nothing ever went wrong. Oh no, nothing ever went wrong, like my browser closing on me like that. Let's do that. In fact, I shouldn't even be. This should be seamless, right? I should be effortlessly talking about this stuff, and then it just kind of effortlessly happens. So, mystery person, I've sent you a thing. What we got going on in the chat? John Harvey has said, "Everyone gay." This stream, and I'm gonna. That's not blocked. I'm showing that because this stream is officially, if Nikki and Bunty endorse it, super queer. We are happy with that. We are cool with that. Gay means happy. Super things, and just it's fine. We're happy with that. So thank you to John Harvey for that. We are indeed all gay, which is brilliant. What I've been missing your comments there. Geiger Punk is on the line. Hello to you in Wales. Super queer. We are happy with that. We are cool with that. Hello, Geiger Punk. Hello, Geiger Punk. He's connected. He ain't on the line. I'm going to PFL him, and then he will come through in a minute because I don't know why. There's obviously a delay between. Oh, here we go. Right, Geiger Punk, you're actually listening now. Hello, Geiger Punk.
Hello?
Hello, Geiger Punk.
Is that dial a disc?
Yeah, it is dial a disc. What do you want us to
is
play?
That dial a disc?
I'm going to PFL him, and then he will come through. Geiger Punk, you need to listen on the headphones. There's obviously a delay. He's listening to the... What's happening here? He's listening to the YouTube audio of me, but I'm getting him back on clean feed. The delay on the YouTube audio is quite delayed, about a minute, and on clean feed it is not. So yeah, I'm going to put it down. What I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect that, and what I'm going to do is make a few little adjustments in my doodah here, because we've got that it kind of works if Geiger Punk, right? What you need to do, the invite I sent you, click on it, and when you clicked on it, you need to listen through the headphones on the device you've clicked on, and we'll be talking in real time. Because what was happening is you were hearing the YouTube audio, and it was all a bit kind of, you were responding to me like a minute later. So and the other person who connected as well, same thing. After Geiger Punk's done, you can connect in, and I should have done it on a different way. I don't know. But yeah, cool to turn your radio down, please, as Dave Cohen actually says. So Geiger Punk, yeah, reuse your link. Oh no, we do have someone on the line. Who is that on the line, please? Hello, caller. Is that Ian? Ian, can you hear me? Ian, hello. We're gonna wait here. I can wait here for Ian all evening. Ian, we've got chat.
Hello.
Hello, Ian. How are you?
Yes, it's in.
How are you? What are you doing this evening, Ian?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello, Ian. this did work. This was working perfectly just a moment ago. But I love the chaos of this.
Hello?
Hello, Ian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Brilliant, Ian. And what are you doing this evening?
I'm just watching you on the feed at the moment, Chinny.
Well, that's brilliant. And what do you want to ask me? Ask away.
I was going to ask you, what was the worst autobiography that you've ever read?
Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade you down there, but I'm going to answer your questions. I'll bring you back up in a minute. The worst autobiography I ever read, Don Estelle's Thoughts of a Gemini. I don't have it with me. It's the worst and the best book ever. Don Estelle, lofty from It Ain't Half Hot Mum, the short guy. He also appears in Dad's Army from time to time. And for the 70s, 80s and 90s, also in your local shopping centre with a trestle table, selling his own CD or vinyl records, cassettes, in later years CDs, and his book. Up and down the country Don went. You can find pictures of him doing that on Google image searches. And this book is nuts. This book is properly nuts, right? Don, oh dear. It's, you know that expression that the bloke from Creme Brulee says on League of Gentlemen? It's a something business. And this is a child-friendly stream, so I can't say the word. And it is the very definition of it's a something business. Don's got a brilliant voice and a talent, but he's born 30 years after his time. So no one wants that kind of voice. Pop music has taken over. And Don is not bitter at all. Oh, he's definitely not bitter that the world is passing him by. It's just nuts. Alistair Coleman's done a brilliant write-up of the book. I suggest you look at that on his Scary Duck blog. But it's nuts. So yeah, that's one. And anything else you want to ask Ian before we go over to Geiger Punk?
Yes, I was going to ask you, what was or who is the worst celebrity that you've ever met?
The worst celebrity I've ever met. Oh, now to think about this. Worst celebrity. I can't think of one off the top of my head. The worst. There probably is someone. There probably is someone who's been absolutely appalling, but it escapes my mind at the moment who it could be. There's banging going on next door. Perhaps they want to join in. Worst celebrity. Oh, a lot of local radio people. Absolutely dreadful. Met Ed Stewart briefly. He's dodgy in all sorts of ways. Yeah, I can't think. The best celebrities easier. John Virgo was a really nice guy when I worked with him. Vincent Flavia from Strictly Come Dancing, absolutely lovely, really down to earth. Did briefly with Borman's son from Zardoz, Charlie Borman. That's it. And he's really nice. If you got everything you want. So concerned that I'd got everything I needed from the bit we were recording from him. So yeah. So Ian, thanks for calling in. We're gonna hopefully go over to Geiger Punk now. If he can hear me, I don't know if he can. So I'm gonna leave the fader up, and Geiger Punk can come in when he wants to. He's connected, but I've got no audio. But he might go over to his computer. So I'm gonna look at the comments, and then Geiger Punk. You can, as soon as you speak, you are on the air. Can't be as dull as Peter Knight's autobiography. Isn't he the one who married Barbara Windsor, or am I thinking of someone else? I've barely met any celebrities. Jeff Capes is one. Liz Fraser. Barry Howard.jpg. Glenn Barton from, I can't see who that was. Ashens is one of us. He's one of us. No matter how famous and successful he becomes, he's one of our own. Geiger Punk, you are on the line, but I've got no audio coming through from you to speak when you want to. If you're going to go and leg a line with anyone, it's Timothy Dalton. if you're going to do that. Not you can't go on Sean Connery. I mean, Legoland, it's Timothy Dalton around Legoland. That's the only way you can do that. I heard that Jeff Capes, who used to live in Spalding, was a very unfriendly person, I've heard. Well, he did breed budgerigars, famously. Probably still does. I've met Ruth Maddock from Heidi High. Was she? Oh, she was lovely. That's good. No, anyone met Cilla Black? Anyone got a Cilla Black experience? Geiger Punk, you are still connected. I have all my faders up for you. I'm just waiting to hear from your lovely Welsh lilt on the line there. Just scrolling through here on the comments. I met with Kevin Eldon, very funny guy. Anyone met Keith Barron? Keith Barron? Used to sit around a pub outside Hampton Court wearing very short shorts whilst drinking outside a restaurant, as I recall from Pop Bitch. The stupid autobiography is not as bad as Don Estelle's. At least somebody has proofread it. Granted, the person who proofread it didn't say, Ed, probably best not to include this bit about the describing your future wife as a 13-year-old apparition. Probably best leave that bit out. But no, Don's is just because Don's leaps all over the place. And at one point, he says about stuff he doesn't want to talk about, and then does talk about. So yeah. So I'm getting nothing from Geiger Punk. So
Hello.
Oh, well, Geiger Punk's there. Hello. How are you? You got it working. That's good. I nearly disconnected you.
Guess who still had another tab open with the old chat window, and that was using the audio.
Oh dear. If you do have an option at that end, you can click the no headphone option because we're getting a little bit of feedback, but not a problem.
Yeah, but it wasn't until I noticed the icon at the top saying another tab is using the audio. Hang on a minute.
But if you do have the no
IT.
head... Or can I do that? Can I do that? I'm going to hit that. Geiger Punk, speak to me.
Whoop. Gone quiet.
That's
What?
better. Speak up and you will be very clear. So, what is your question, caller?
Oh, God, no. Question, Jesus. Have you got Rain or Shine by 5-star?
Yes, I have. Unfortunately, for PRS reasons, I cannot play it. This desk will do
Oh, well,
the
they're
lot.
a load of... Right.
And so, what C64 games are you playing on your channel? Geiger Punk has this brilliant channel. Tell us all about your channel.
Oh, blimey. I just point a camera at a screen. This is really distracting, seeing text scrolling, as I'd never managed to do an auto cue. Yeah, I just play games.
Mainly on
and point a camera at
C64.
the screen while doing so, and just talk stuff off the top of my head. I don't do scripted stuff. I just...
There's no scripts at ChinnyVision. There's no scripts at ChinnyVision. By goodness me, you can make one casual comment about how a caricature might be slightly racist, and it might all kick off. This isn't scripted.
That's what happened, was it?
That's what
Okay.
happens.
Yeah. I think I might have some games like that coming up on my channel.
Yeah.
But no one
Anyway,
watches my channel, so that's fine.
but it's no, you don't do any script. I don't do any script, so we're kind of the freewheelers in all this. And you play mainly C64. You got a bit of Spectrum, and so how much you mainly for your C64 content, which I think you're a bit of a specialist on.
I have got mainly C64 content, but someone the other day asked me if I was mainly a Dragon channel.
Oh, because you got that Dragon
So
the
I'll try
other
and
year,
mix
didn't
it
you?
up, though. Yeah, I do mix it up. I mean, it's never the same system from Tuesday to Friday.
Well, that's I mean that's it. And tell everyone the name of your channel. I know the name of your channel. It was Rob's Retro Rambles, but you tell us.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, the channel's still Geiger Punk, isn't it? It's just the playlist is Rob's Retro Ramble. So just me playing various different systems. Coming up soon is going to be some Commodore Plus 4 stuff. So
That was good.
That's news.
To let daylight up in a magic, what you do is when you get someone talking like you were then, if you're doing a radio station or something, what you do is that's when you can have your drink I was thinking, great, he's speaking. So everyone could see me just suddenly take a sip of my drink. But no, I do love your channels.
Oh, God, he's off again.
I do what, I mean, right. I don't watch a huge amount of retro YouTube. I just don't. Because there's so much of it. And I end up watching, like the other week, where I end up watching a video about a canal boat toilets. Do you go for the cassette type? Yeah, because it's really interesting, right? It's like you're learning something, and
cassettes.
It's cassettes as well, and I just kind of end up watching stuff like that, and less kind of retro stuff. I do watch the 8-bit gun guy, and obviously not got his guns, and LGR, you, Ashens, Rob down in Australia, of course, 2 Robs, very confusing. And I skit around a lot of the other channels, some of which are people going by Nikki and Bunty, although they're on Twitch these days, so I watch them live on Twitch. And Kim Justice does a lot of stuff, but they're all doing Twitch, and I hate Twitch as a platform. Have you tried Twitch?
I've not tried streaming it. I've just dipped my toes into watching Ashens on a Wednesday and occasionally on a Sunday. And Nikki and Bunty on a Friday. I
watch Nikki and Bunty because I really like them, but I really hate the platform. Every week it just plays up in some way. It would just kick me off just a second something vital is about to happen, and then I'd rejoin it. Even though they don't have the adverts enabled to play when you rejoin, it just decides it wants to play me an Amazon Prime advert for something I've got no interest in anyway. And he's sitting there for like 30 seconds going, stop, let me skip, let me go past, I want to get back to the stream. And it just does.
And now they're talking about doing that midstream now as well, aren't they?
I mean, how is that even going to work? Just so you drop people out like when ITV had the F1, really crash about to happen. Oh, we're going to the adverts. No idea.
Yep. Especially if someone's doing a quiz like Ashton does.
Yes.
The last thing you want is 30 seconds while you're supposed to be answering.
That's a Tech Moan, is what I'm going to do. Tech Moan, 8-bit gun guy, watch him. I watch Cruising the Cut. Yes, I do watch Cruising the Cut. And I was watching it thinking, Lee, that I vaguely know this guy. And I emailed my old boss. So, do we know this guy? Oh, yeah, it's Dave Johns. Oh, that's like, of course, he used to be a local radio and TV presenter. Of course we do. I hadn't made the connection, which is why he's so good with the camera stuff. Because he'd been working on, I think it was BBC, was it Meridian or BBC South he worked on? But anyway, he's really experienced in that stuff, so he obviously packed that in and went on the canals. But what YouTube channels are you watching, Mr. Geiger Punk?
Oh, well, as people have mentioned, they're Tech Moan, obviously. Hubnut. Oh, yeah, someone else mentioned Hubnut as well.
Oh, Hubnut, he's great. I couldn't cope when he went to New Zealand, but now he's back. He's great again.
And 3D Bot Makers, Downhill Matchbox Hot Wheels Challenge. They take toy cars and send them down a hillside.
That's all interesting stuff.
It's really good fun. It's like sport, but you can watch it. I don't like sport, but I like watching that. It's
funny what you end up watching on YouTube because canal boating, the in-laws briefly had one as one of their fads. Oh, I was so glad when they sold it. It was just, you can't go anywhere, right? Because you've got to go back. So if you take it for the day...
slightly forward with about 4 miles an hour.
You go 4 miles an hour, you reach a flight of locks, because they were at Napton, near Rugby, and you hit the locks. You've got like 6 locks to go down. Stop at the pub, they can go back. That's it. They took it out for like a week at a time, but unless you're doing what he's doing on Cruising the Cut and actually living on it and going around the country, actually just kind of going from place to place to place, like, I don't know, the Incredible Hulk. Not because you can't moor like here. The Incredible Hulk can't stay in one place, but if you've got a narrow boat, you can't moor for 14 days. So you always end up having to move on, presumably with that sad walking away music with it. But, you know, because he's going from place to place, I imagine that's really interesting. Where I was just kind of messing around on the boat and the heat. We stayed in it once and the heat. Woke up in the morning really kind of hot and dehydrated because they're made of metal. And the first time we stayed in it, my father-in-law said, I was working in Toaster. Don't pay for a hotel, go and stay on the boat. It's December, didn't think this through. Now, I got off on the A34 because we're down on the south coast, so it's, it never really gets properly cold. Go up on the A34 towards Oxford, and it starts to... Everything's white. Everything's white. By the time I've got anywhere near there, I've had to actually buy some more windscreen stuff because I've used it all because it's so cold. -5 when we get up there. Wake it all up. Warm it up. Come. Mr. Chinny's with me. We do the job. Come back. And I've never been so cold in the night because cruising the car, he's got his kind of burner thing, his bit of wood, coal, whatever it is he burns on there, and radiators and all sorts. Because they had a day boat, all it had was basically the same kind of electric heat as you have in a car, blowing, fanning out, and you couldn't run it the entire time.
Surrounded by icy water.
Yeah, you could hear the water. It was like Shackleton in the at the South Pole in the middle of the night. Ice on the windscreen inside the thing at night, and we had woolly hats on and everything. And every time you put your hand outside the kind of very narrow bed in night, it was so cold you woke up. It was
Still
cold. An experience. I wouldn't do it again, but it's an experience.
Better than that one in Blackpool.
Oh, it's Blackpool. Which one's Blackpool? Oh, the Norbreck. Yeah, the Norbreck Hotel.
That's the one.
That's no Play Expo this year either. So, no, we're not going to be able to go with that. Lovely night's sleep, hey on Pod said. It kind of was when you were snuggled up and warm inside the duvet, but it was just that kind of arm slipping outside. So, yeah. So, we'll get some more callers in. Geiger Punk, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. I hope everything's okay down in Wales. So, hello to Mrs. Geiger Punk as well. I can hear in the background from time to time. Hello. We can hear you just very vaguely. Thanks for calling in. Do check out Rob's Retro Rambles / Geiger Punk, both on Twitter and the other thing, YouTube, where we are now. Thanks for calling, Rob. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Cheers, my dear.
So that's how easy it is. You can just email chinnyhill10@hotmail.com. What we're going to do this time is we're only going to send out one invite at a time so everyone doesn't join at once. Brend, right, okay, we've got 3 people asking. Is that... It's really confusing when you know people by one name online, you get the email from them and it's someone else. And I won't say his real name, but it's Malicious Afterthought, who I forget is not actually called Malicious Afterthought in real life. Like Jonathan Holt, we're going to send you an invite. J. Holt. I can't multitask. I'm a man. I have to say what I'm doing while I'm doing it. We're looking down there, but we're going to send Jonathan Holt an invite, and he's going to connect in very shortly. In the comments, what have we got? ZX Guesser, they realised they couldn't ban someone if they didn't. I probably should read back through the comments. Dave Cowan is looking out for a Commodore PET in an upcoming video from Look Mumco Computer. The new Commodore PET from Futurist 8-bit and Time Mouth Software looks really, really interesting. And they did offer to send me one, which was very, very kind, and I said no, because I don't know enough about PETs, and I don't think it crosses over enough into what I do. I just don't think it's quite in that UK home computer kind of sweet spot, 80, kind of 82, 83 up to kind of 94 that I kind of run with, and I thought, they said, we can pre-build it. It was very, very kind, but I honestly don't want them spending that kind of money sending me a kit that I don't think I can do justice to. And it's better it goes off to channels that are dedicated to that kind of stuff, who want to do the build, who are really interested in that stuff, who can do it justice. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm banned from Play Expo. That is true. What else have we got here? Jonathan Holt, you have an invite, so you should have an email from me you can click on. Chloe says, what's the worst system you've ever had that made you want to rage? Guilt? Worst system I ever had. Here, I'm going to have a drink and think about that. I think I've had a worse system. What's a... systems I don't enjoy as much, like the Sega Saturn and the N64, which I have, which never come out anymore since I started doing ChinnyVision because there's no demand for that, and I don't really have much interest in. Jonathan Holt, you've got an email going through, by the way, so if you listen to this, you check your email because the invite's just gone to you. I don't really hate any system particularly. Jonathan Holt is on the line. Hello, Jonathan. He's connected, but he's probably getting a headset on. I'm going to wait. What I should do with Clean Feed, and what my laptop is set up, but this tablet isn't, is when they come on the line, I can hold people, and they can hear me, but they can't speak to me yet. And I can click a button, and it just works.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Jonathan. Hello. This is so professional.
Excellent.
It is so professional, but we are doing the Ian Lee late night phone-in kind of thing. Although, please, can I stress, do not take a load of drugs and collapse in a town centre, because I won't know where you are, and I'm not that good as he is. So, Jonathan, what do you want to ask me?
I've just paused your YouTube. That's better. Yeah, so... Oh, I'm getting real bad crackling here. It's really bad.
Really bad. Throw me a question really quickly and I'll fade you down, and then we can get your answer.
Okay. Did you ever have a period where gaming, like retro games, were not a part of your life? Like the wilderness years, the late 90s, early 2000s?
And that's a brilliant question. And the answer is, and I'm going to fade you down, but we'll come back to you in a second. The answer is no. There was no point, and they weren't retro games. There was no point in which I stopped playing the games. I got the Amiga. I still had my Amstrad out. I'd asked for Spectrum for Christmas in 91, even though I had an Amstrad, and I don't know if I got the C64 by then. The thing is, you got to catch them all, right? Oh, sure, at school you argue the case for your Amstrad. Your Amstrad is better than anyone else. But you want to own them, all these computers. And it's a case of I had the Amiga, but I'd still play on Spectrum. Oh, look, I can get a Spectrum emulator for the Amiga 1200, but it's not as good. Although, actually, I can transfer my tapes in and so on. And it just became kind of one. Then I got my PC, and you could get decent emulation on there. But I still wanted to play my original Spectrums, and it all just became one. I never wanted to let go of any of those systems. The only time the machines were away, but I was still using stuff on emulation, was probably when we moved house, and I was still living at home in 2002, and then when I first moved into with Mrs. Chinny, right, where we certainly didn't have the room to have the stuff out, so the Amiga and stuff went away. But there was no point I wasn't playing the games. The games were always there. The machines were always there. If I was restricted in any way, it was just because I couldn't have the machines out. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you. What was your situation, Jonathan?
I didn't know anyone who was playing on old systems. Like, no one.
You say that. And I was talking, again, I'm going to fade you down for a second just because of the crackling. Jonathan, if you didn't hear that, said he didn't know anyone was playing those old systems. Anyone. I was talking to a really good mate of mine. I met up with him and his partner in the week down in Christchurch. And they were down from up north. He's now a bigwig in one of the big radio groups. And he said, you got all this stuff. Where's it all come from? I said, I always had it. I just didn't shout about it. Why would I when we were at uni in 98 to 2001? Why would I have shouted out that I was doing this stuff, that on a Sunday afternoon I might fire up a Spectrum emulator or get out my Plus 3 or something? It wouldn't have... It wasn't relevant to what we were doing, which was studying TV and radio production and completely anoracking about radio most of the time. Jonathan, I mean, again, I'd fade you up again. So you say you had no one you knew.
No one,
but were you doing it yourself?
The UK, no one in... Well, no, I immigrated in 99 to Canada. Yeah. So obviously there was no knowledge of spectrums and all that kind of thing. And I just thought, well, I guess I've left this part of my life behind now, you know. And all the people I was getting to know were into like modern games, so no one had like even a Super Nintendo seemed like old hat, like they wouldn't even bother with it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my some of the people I knew at uni still had their SNESes because Mario Kart, and it was quite, you know, when students are poor, they don't have the latest consoles. So, I mean, Jamie, who I met up with, he still had his SNES, and I think he still got it to play Mario Kart on, but that was a kind of a student poverty thing, so to speak. I mean, we were talking on Wednesday about just how, you know, what a struggle it was for him as someone from Chester, and not the rich part of Chester either, the kind of the bit outside that isn't as good, you know, wealthy, for him to come down and self-fund himself down in the south to do his course, and let alone what it would cost these days to do that. 2 jobs, all that kind of stuff. So there was no idea that he could go out and buy a PlayStation. I went and bought a PlayStation. Bought about 3 games, and I played this stuff and went, this it? Colin McRae rally, something with where cats caught rats, and some kind of driving around town, I think in Cuba game. I can't remember the name of it.
It's all the attention, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to fade dealing as the crackling is chronic, but, you know, it's just something you did. Really something you did. So yeah, so Jonathan, thanks for calling. I'm going to have to cut you now, not because I'm not interested in what you're saying, but the crackling is something chronic. Okay. But thanks so much for calling from Canada. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
So that was Jonathan from Canada, and not from the UK, in Canada. So that's really good. So we're going to look at who else we've got on here. Brendan, I'm going to be sending you an invite, and we've got another person after him as well. But I'm just doing one at a time now because I haven't set my software up quite right. And what I will do if I'm not careful is end up a massive. And Brendan, I might spell your name wrong here. I apologise. That doesn't even look right. There should be an E. Brendan, I've spelt your name wrong, but I just need to know who you are. I'm these virtual keyboards. I know I corrected it. There we go. Right, Brendan is now got an invite. His name is not spelt wrong. None of this matters. Jonathan is sound. He's a superb supporter of ChinnyVision, and really good to have him on the line from halfway across the world. And anyone who emigrates, I think, is both nuts and completely brave and admirable, because I know people who've done it, and I know what a tear it can be. I've got a former radio colleague who now lives in Washington State, not Washington DC, up the other side. And Brendan, we're coming to you very shortly, and I know how much he misses being over here, but what a fantastic life he has over there now as well. Brendan, hello. Hello, Brendan. I can hear clicking. I'm guessing it's going to be one of those things where he's going to hear me. Oh, hello. There's frantic clicking going on. You see, there should be someone in another room who's getting these callers lined up, going, right, Brendan, we're going to get you ready to go on air, and can you give me a bit of level, please? And, right, Chinny's going to speak to you in 2 minutes. You're just going to be holding there. Brendan's gone. Brendan has gone away. Brendan, we're still here for you. Your link will still work. We will hang on. I will read through the comments while Brendan connects. Again, hello, Brendan.
Hello.
Hello. Fantastic to hear from you.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. I can absolutely hear you. But can you hear me? He's typing. He can't hear us. Brendan, can you hear us? I love chaos. You could get really stressed about this stuff, but chaos just makes this stuff go round. As long as Brendan doesn't swear, we are perfectly safe. Right, Brendan, I'm going to fade you down a second. You are on the line. I can hear you fine. So, Brendan, you hang on in there. I can absolutely hear you. We'll come back. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get this sorted out. I'm going to look at the comments. what we've got going on here. Washington State is burning and full of rioters now. I think he's up in one of the nice bits. He used to work on a radio station that was on a lake, KJY or something. Really, you know those kind of radio stations you saw in Grand Theft Auto 3D, the first 3D one, Grand Theft Auto 3, with a kind of building and a transmitter next to it. Yeah, they had one of those with the AM transmitter right next door to them. And right in the UK, the biggest station I ever worked for had a 4 kilowatt transmitter. Kev had, when he was at that station, a transmitter on top of a mountain that was 40 kilowatts. 40, which is like 10 times what the most I'd ever had any involvement with. Brendan, can you hear me? Brendan, hello? Brendan, what I'm going to do is put you on PFL. And if Brendan talks to me, I will bring him straight to you absolutely live, because all I'm getting is in my ear is clicking and breathing. So, yeah, what else we got on the comments there? Wonder Swan, that's a weird console, isn't it? The Wonder Swan. Brendan's gone away. Brendan, we are absolutely fine here. I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me, and I don't know why. But your invite is still open. I'm not going to invite anyone else on. Yeah, I'll let you get, no panic. There's no rush here at all. I can talk here all night, but I will have a drink. My ChinnyVision mug, ChinnyVision. Oh, Brendan, right. Brendan, I can hear you. But can you hear me? Hello, Brendan. Hello, Brendan. I can hear you. I've been able to hear you the entire time. Hello, Brendan. I assure you, ChinnyVision is a completely professional channel and nothing is a problem at this end, probably. I've got him faded down again. ChinnyHill10@hotmail.com if you want to join the fun. And, yeah, what else we got going on in the comments? 62 concurrent viewers. Jonathan got censored for not saying anything offensive, but there you go. I've just uncensored you. Sam Coupe, Matt asks, do you think the Sam Coupe would have more success if it was released 5 years earlier? Or would it have been absolutely hammered by other machines? 5 years earlier, that'd make it 1985. Oh, there's a question. That is a question. Brendan's gone away now, very sadly. Brendan, we really do want to hear from you. I could definitely hear you. I could hear you absolutely fine, but I don't know what was going on at your end. But you're welcome. You're welcome back. I'll give you 5 more minutes just to sort it out and come back. But Brendan, please rejoin, because I could definitely hear you, but I don't think you could hear me. If you want to get in the queue to join in the fun, ChinnyHill10@hotmail.com, and I'll send you a clean feed invite. Sam, yes, it's a weird thing because it would. Brendan, hello. Hello, Brendan. He's there. He's absolutely there. We all hear him? I'm not just kind of making this up, am I? We can hear clicking and sighs of frustration. But I don't think he can hear me, and that's the problem. Sam, yeah, it's weird. It's too early and weird, and I'm hearing myself back from Brendan now. But that's okay. I can press a button here, and that will. But Brendan, we can absolutely hear you. I can absolutely hear you. But if you can't hear me, that's kind of not good. But Brendan, you're there, and I can hear you. So, Sam Coupe. It's a weird one, and Brendan's gone again. I am monitoring Brendan while trying to talk at the same time. So Sam Coupe, right? Machine far too late. Spectrum compatibility, but not 128k games. Coming in 1985 with that machine, would Amstrad have just shot? 96 for Amstrad. Would Sinclair have shot you down with that compatibility? That's an interesting thing. How did they even get that compatibility? Didn't you have to use a program to rip your ROM? Did Amstrad care by 1990 about the Spectrum? given it was on its last, second to last Christmas. I think Amstrad still sold it in 91. It's a weird machine though, and it's a bit like the Dragon in that it's a cool system from Wales, and you're probably not going to have the money to push this out, because if you do these things, you've got to push these machines out, and you've got to push them hard, and you've got to have software support. Everyone said the CPC was too late to the scene, but Amstrad got enough software support to really kind of push that machine out using the Amsoft label, getting games onto the system, and really being forceful about how they did stuff and getting all those games out. You know, it's a costly business, and you need to ask people. A Malicious Afterthought, I'm just sorting out your invite. You need to get software houses supporting you. And I know that Amstrad, for example, had people like Ocean going, oh, well, we'll give you kind of minimal support, and other people going, we'll give you no support, because so many people were bringing out machines at that time. So I'm sorry, Brendan, we couldn't connect with you, but I'm going to try with Malicious Afterthought in a second. So, I mean, the Enterprise is a good example. Would the SAMs have succeeded? Well, the Enterprise didn't, did it? The Enterprise kind of came along and didn't work. And that's a kind of situation you're dealing with. CPC worked because although Amstrad were late to the scene, they pushed the machine out, they got the machine going just by sheer brute force of marketing and expertise of all that stuff. They weren't some fly-by-night company. They'd established in 1968. They'd been marketing this stuff for years, and Alan Sugar always thought of Amstrad as a marketing, or primarily a marketing organisation rather than an electronics manufacturer. And we've got two people on the line. Well, someone speak to me, please.
I'm on right now, but I'll wait my turn.
Brendan, you can talk to us. Malicious Afterthought can be on after you. It is your turn. Right, what's your question?
Very sorry about all the technical hassles.
That's no problem.
So,
Brendan, can you speak up a little bit? Hang on. Oh, we dropped you a second. What's your question?
So you've told a story in the past about how you got your CPC for Christmas. I think it was 1985. Do you have any prior experience or any machines you wanted before then? Or, you know, when was your first brush with technology?
Right. I'm going to fade you down a second. I'll get a little of you back, but I'll bring you back up in a second. First experience of technology was actually a CPC, because the bloke who had the shop next door to where my dad had his shop, my grandparents and my dad, was a shoe mender, and he had a son called Duncan, a little bit older than me, and Duncan, for his birthday at some point in 84, got a CPC 464, so I would have been about 6 then, and they bought, I didn't know what a CPC 464 was. All I know is that Duncan had suddenly got his computer at the back of the shop, and I was sent in there to see it, and I saw this amazing game with like these 3D wonderful colours and all this depth and realism and all this stuff where you flew along these islands and you bombed people. It looked amazing. It was like, my God, what is this? What is this marvellous photorealistic thing I'm seeing on this screen before me where you can make it move? It was Harrier Attack. And that was my first experience of that kind of thing. And I was 6, I hadn't seen a computer before. I'd probably seen arcade machines before, but and Duncan had various games, Ghostbusters, was it Steve, it was Alex Higgins, Paul, or Steve Davis, Luca, somewhat, a load of Amsoft stuff basically. But I got hooked on this stuff, and yeah, that was my kind of first experience. And I'm getting multiple.
Very cool. It seems like yeah, Harrier Attack was actually
We're getting multiple feedback there because Malicious Afterthought is connected as well. Malier, what I'm going to do is disconnect you and get you back in a second. So I'm disconnecting you. Sorry about that. Right, Brendan, what was your next question?
No, it's just pointing out before I had my first Spectrum, a mate of mine had a Commodore 64, and this was back in around 84 must have been, and Harrier Attack was the first game I actually first encountered in the wild, so yeah, that's kind of a coincidence.
But that Amsoft pack, everyone kind of had experience of that, didn't they, really? I mean, all those games.
Very much so, very much so. And as it happens, my first experience with technology was the ZX81 very, very late in 1984.
A friend of mine, I've been talking about his dad online, because his dad happens to look like Dennis Nielsen, or did at the time. I went, oh, it's Chris's dad. he had a Tandy 1000. His dad, and Chris had a Atari 8-bit, but they had a ZX81 there. You weren't ever allowed. I think we might have turned it on once, but we couldn't do anything with it. But I never saw. The first other micros I saw, I think, were probably. Oh, my mate sold me his Broken Spectrum for like £1, and you didn't. Other people's houses, C64s and stuff, but not much apart from that.
That's peculiar. Yeah, it's a few of us had machines in, I'd say, the late 80s, and I had a Spectrum Plus 2. It was my first proper machine. A couple of mates had a CPC 464, and a couple of mates had C64s as well, and we used to swap them around every now and again, just swap them for a week and try them out, see what we thought, kind of thing. So that's how I got my exposure to other machines, and luckily enough, I didn't get too attached to any single platform.
I mean, as I say, I wanted to own them all. You wouldn't publicly admit that. No way would you ever let any inkling that, as an Amstrad owner, actually what you wanted was a whole desk with all these computers lined up. Because they were the enemy, and you had all your comes-backs lined up for the playground. Blocky, everyone used to say C64 owners, blocky. It wasn't brown, it wasn't grey like we do today. It's like blocky. Everything's blocky.
Yeah.
See, Spectrum, it's like it's all blurry and there's no kind of colours and stuff, and you just kind of had this kind of back and forth, but actually you wanted the lot. And the only machine I didn't really want, and I only got for the channel, and sorry ST owners, but it's true, it's the ST. Because
I've actually got one of those in front of me right now.
It's a lovely machine. But the thing is, I've been spoiled by the Amiga 1200. So what on earth would, apart from those, if you were an owner in 87, 86, 87, something like that, you'd want an ST because more games available, bit cheaper, and it's just the kind of generally better option. The Amiga was very exotic and there wasn't the support there. And I can understand people getting, like my mate Chris, went from his Atari 8-bit to the ST because it's an Atari upgrade path, and he got that pack that Atari were giving away. He got the Discovery pack, but I think there were loads of extra games they gave away because they had all this extra stuff, which they bribed these people to buy these computers with. And that's when he started to see more computers kind of around, because there's that point in about 88, 89 where it went from being a few people having them to, and I don't know how it was for you, but a few people having them to everyone having one.
Yeah, and it was funny. Most people went direct consoles over here in Ireland anyway. Very few people, I'd say there was maybe about 5 or 6 of us had Spectrums, Commodores, Amstrads. But then once the SNES and Mega Drive came into the scene, just everybody seemed to own them. Everybody, the whole thing exploded. But it left me a bit cold, to be honest, because I couldn't do anything with them. Couldn't program on them. Couldn't do the whole Hello World or your mate's a jerk kind of thing, go to 10, that kind of thing.
I mean, that's why I say the CPC so long, because it was a computer. It's a proper computer that could do everything on, and some people only wanted to play games, but I wanted to do more than that. And what happened to me was I wouldn't contemplate upgrading. I mean, it got to about September, October 1992, when I suddenly got so frustrated with not being able... It wasn't the games on the CPC that bothered me. It was suddenly I was playing around doing sound sampling and stuff, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't get Advanced Art Studio to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to digitise stuff, but you looked at these adverts for the Rombo stuff, and it's rubbish, really. And it's just like, I need a computer where I can do this stuff. And suddenly it was like something snapped in my brain. It's got to be an Amiga then, hasn't it? It's not. It wasn't ever actually about looking at the games saying, I want those games. For me, it was always looking at, I want that functionality.
How much control can I have with that this particular machine?
Yeah, and I had all the stuff. I got the the Amiga burned so brightly for me, but for such a short time, because I got it in Christmas '92, and by October, November '94, we'd bought a PC. Although I was still using the Amiga for digitising and using cross-DOS and getting stuff across to it, but it was that 2 years where it burnt so brightly. I had a sound sampler, I had a hand scanner, I had a VIDI 12. And I was hammering this stuff. Played the games, loved the games, all that stuff, sure. But I was hammering all this stuff, and to the point where when I had the PC, until I got my Matrox card, in about like 96, the Amiga was still my only way of grabbing images. And there's this image, I think I put it in the video I did. There was this I was part of the Doctor Who community back in the day on Recards Doctor Who and stuff. And Doctor Who was like the prime of everything at the time. Everyone hated it. And I just kind of Doctor Who webpage, and there was a thing called TV50 where the BBC kind of put all these shows up for public vote to have them, what was the most popular. And Doctor Who managed to kind of get into this vote. And of course, it actually won, which the people weren't expecting, because apparently they only invited Peter Davison because he was part of All Creatures Great and Small. When they realised Doctor Who had won, they phoned up Sylvester McCoy the day before and said, can you get down to London and wear a dinner jacket? Like, why? Just come down. And he and Peter Davison went up and accepted this award. And the reason I say this is because I grabbed a shot of that on my Amiga as it happened live, not from tape, live. And he only had one shot at it with the VIDI, because once you'd done it, the Amiga was committed for like the next 3 minutes to processing this image, and there was no way out, so you had to get it bang dead on. And I got that around the world within about 20 minutes, and it was everywhere. And that's me in my bedroom with my Amiga 1200. And that's that's why I've got this thing. So, yeah, Amiga, burn bright, but very, very, very short for me.
Very cool.
Well, Brendan, thanks for calling in. That's absolutely brilliant. Malicious Afterthought, you can now call us up, Mallier. You can call us up, and I'm going to do... Can people do some social media for this, if you're watching this? Just big this up as kind of an online late-night chat show, if you can, because that would be really good when we get some more people online. But Malicious Afterthought, you can connect when you want, and we will have a lovely chat, unless you've had to go to bed and do some space pirate stuff. I don't know, but I'm going to just go on here and copy my URL. Still alive, ask your questions. And Malicious Afterthought, again, you can join in anytime with anyone after that. ChinnyHill10 at hotmail.com. I'm just doing that. I hope this fan behind me isn't too noisy, by the way. Oh, hello. I'm getting feedback. Mrs. Afterthought, I'm getting feedback from you. I'm going to put you on. I'm going to put you on PFL, but I'm hearing myself back. But I'm going to click some buttons, and perhaps I won't hear myself back. Right, Malicious Afterthought. Ask me your question.
The soundtrack to Speeble 2 and Gods is some of the best ever. How did the Bitmap Brothers get such good music through their games? And has anyone ever done a better job of it?
Right, I'm going to fade you down because we're getting massive feedback there. How did the Bitmap Brothers do such a good job on the Amiga? I'm not an audio expert. I really am not an audio expert, right? So, it's because of all those Amiga soundtracks, and because the Amiga only works on samples, so it forces you to think in a different way from chip tunes like on the Amstrad, the Spectrum, the C64, and so on, because you're working with real world sounds. And what you're kind of doing is, therefore, you've got to think more musically. So you get people like Richard Joseph coming in as proper kind of musicians and doing this stuff in a tracker, which coincidentally is the kind of way a lot of the music of the time in the charts was being done with MIDI is kind of almost like a tracker in its own right. So it's kind of the Amiga's feeding into all this stuff and way of how music is done at the time. And that is why Speedball 2 is so good, but why so many Amiga games have such fantastic soundtracks. So, Malicious Afterthought, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Are you on headphones or are you on a speaker?
I want a speaker, sorry.
That's okay. If you could turn it down a little bit, because I'm feeding it back, and it's a bit like broadcasting on talk radio on AM. That's better. So how is it for you up there today? Of course, he can't hear me now if he's turned the speaker down. Hello, Malier. Gooey. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Well, anyway, it's lovely to hear from him. Superb supporter of the channel. Lovely guy. Known him online from the What a Stuart forums and so on from years ago. I'm going to find some more callers. We've got some more callers in. Ross wants to ask a question. I'm going to copy his address and send him a lovely invite. That's Ross there. As I go into, let me just put that in there. See, I told you I can't multitask. I'm going to paste that there. And this device is the worst for touching the edge of your hand on the screen and then it doing something else other than where your finger is. Right, invite. Oh, dear me. I'm sending that now. Right, Ross, you got your invite. What are we doing in the comments? And Bomb of the Base samples. Of course, Bitmap Brothers. Yeah, Betty Boo, all that stuff in those Bitmap Brothers games. It's so of its time as well. It's absolutely so of its time, all of those soundtracks, and actually using pop charts. It's kind of like feeding back on itself. Ross, you are connected. You can speak to me at any time you like if you can actually hear me, but the fader is up on you. Feel free to intervene. Hello? No, I'm getting no audio from Ross, but presumably he can sort things out at his end. He's connected. I'm going to put him on PFL. PFL is a very clever thing on the desk. I'll put the fader down, but I can still hear everything that's going on unless it starts to be feedback, at which point it all goes horribly wrong and I get distracted. What's going on in the comments? Radar Computers is on, I think. Hello to them. 316 Hicks. Hello, Ross.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm going to turn you up and I can hear you. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the GX4000, really. I got one for £30 just after I first started working. It was in the bargain basement bill. Had burning rubber with it, along with Navy SEALs and Pang, and I thought it was the best £30 I'd spent for quite a long time. So I'd like to like your thoughts on that system.
Okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have a drink because hold on. GX4000, right. Let's go back to end of August, just before you went back to school in 1990. And New Computer Express has reported that Amstrad are launching new machines. I'm an Amstrad fanboy, right? Amstrad launching new machines, and they've got these drawings of the machines, and it's really good, and they're previewing it all, and it's so exciting. And then I went to Wells on a Sunday, and Wells in near Bath and what have I think we've been to Wookey Hole, where the kind of water runs down the side of the street. It's almost like an open sewer, but not. Wells Cathedral. And Amstrad Action was in the shops with this, and I don't know why. We'd walked into John Men's or W.H. Smith's, and while I was looking at the computer magazines, because I wasn't expecting this stuff, and Amstrad Action was there, and it had the pictures of the new machines on it, and it's like all the kind of full details. I think I must have known, actually, because New Computer Express was out weekly, and they must have had the initial news article of the full release. But I bought this and read it from cover to cover and was blown away about all the stuff that was being promised. And, I mean, realistically, it's like, this is an 8-bit console, it's 1990, what's going to happen? The Mega Drive is also coming up this Christmas, but I'm an Amstrad fanboy, so I'm mad for it, right? And I get this for Christmas, and Burning Rubber is a really good racing game. I stand by it this day. And I was lucky enough to get Pang, Navy Seals and Switchblade as well. And so I was actually pretty sorted for pretty much the best games on the system. But it's a great system. It's too late. It's just too late, and my GX4000 is up over there somewhere behind my video light on the side in its box. And not my original one I've bought, because I blew all my original ones up. And it's a great spec. It's got hardware sprites, it's got lots of colours, it can do more than any other 8-bit aside from the PC engine. And in theory, if that was released in 1987 or 8, it would have blown everyone away, because Amstrad would have just been ahead of everyone. But Alan Sugar always says Amstrad are not innovators. They take existing ideas and repackage them into something. It goes back to what I said about them being a marketing organisation. And that's exactly what kind of happened there. They looked at what was going on around them, Sega, Nintendo, and they spoke to the UK software houses, especially Ocean, who were really concerned about being locked out of the consoles, because if you want to develop for the Master System, you need to go to Sega. If you want to develop for the Nintendo Entertainment System, you have to go through Nintendo. And the UK, not US Gold, oddly, because they're already in, I think, with some of these people, but Ocean especially were very concerned about this stuff. So Amstrad thought, right, we can do this. We've got the backing of the biggest publisher in the UK and other people like Gremlin and so on. This is going to be a huge success. But of course, there's no kind of mindset to what the public or the kids who are buying this stuff actually want. The CPC Plus machines, as I understand, sold pretty well. It gave the CPC a bit of a boost. What you can actually see in Amstrad Action circulation is it goes up. Not hugely, but there's definitely a bump. I think it's getting up towards 40,000 again after being down at about 30,000. So it's definitely a boost from those new machines. But there's a difference between giving your elderly machines a kind of fresh face and a bit of a boost to trying to take on Nintendo and Sega and disrupt.
Yeah, it's like the new boys and new boys on the block. I mean, I just don't think it was that cool at the time, was it? Really, I think that was the problem.
They didn't market it very well. I mean, in retrospect, we all look at Sonic and all that stuff, but that reality was the consoles really weren't in at the time. The biggest problem they had was I'm doing a review of Turtles at the moment. And what Nintendo had that Christmas was Teenage Mutant Hero or Ninja Turtles. And you don't need to have the people buying that console for that game don't give a stuff about the sound hardware, the graphics hardware, or anything else about the machine. That I remember a kid called Miles at school who loved Turtles. He bought a NES just because he liked Turtles. And once you're doing that, it's game over, because that's mass market.
I'm not worried about the palette. Just give me the give me the Turtles.
Yeah, just give me the Turtles pack, because everyone here, we all think in a different way. But actually, the mass market doesn't give a stuff, which is why, for example, the Spectrum was the best-selling home computer in the UK between every Christmas from 82 through to and including 1990, which blows people's minds. Because actually the technical specs and what we think, the people who know this stuff, doesn't actually matter, because what actually matters is that machine is in Dixon's, it's piled up, sky high, there's a load of software, it's cheap, the parents who don't know anything are buying that for their kid who doesn't know anything, and they may not be, particularly wealthy or anything like that. It's a nice package box. And Amstrad had the James Bond packs, if you remember those, with Timothy Dalton on the front and all that stuff. And and incidentally, one thing that really grinds my gears is David Pleasance of Commodore going, well, I invented the packaging in of games with the Amiga. Because Amstrad were doing that a couple of years before with the James Bond packs. And of course that stuff, it doesn't matter. People go, oh, James Bond, computer, buy it, 129 quid. No brainer.
I mean, for me, it's a little bit like VHS versus Betamax. I mean, Betamax had a better quality of tape and video reproduction, but you don't care because you just want to watch films, so you go for VHS.
You just want to play games, and not everyone... How many people do I know who just got given a computer, especially girls? Again, people forget about this. People I know, female friends, were just bought a computer by their parents for Christmas. And they say, oh, I had the one with the colourful keys, or it had some rainbow stripes. They don't even know what it was. And I'm not patronising women when I say that, hopefully, and hopefully, you know, it doesn't come across that way, but they genuinely had very little interest in what they had been given. It was like an appliance. And some blokes as well who aren't interested in computers. Again, a friend I mentioned earlier, he had a CPC 464. He referred to it to me as the computer with colourful keys. He didn't know it was an Amstrad. He didn't know it was a 464. I only worked it out from his description of what it was. And us
the keys were nice, though.
Yeah, they're nice. But us lot today, and the people who've come back to this, or people who've been along with it all along, we're rarefied. We're not the punters on the street. Most people don't care about this stuff the way we care about it. The way Mr. PSB cares about what type of train is a different train. Is it an electric train? Is it a diesel train? Is it a one with, you know, or whatever? We know it all, and we don't half enjoy telling people about it, but the reality is, and that's how Amstrad worked with their machine. The Amstrad PCW, the spec of that on paper is dreadful. No one in their right mind would buy an Amstrad PCW as a computer. Sold 8 million. Because it was sold as almost like an appliance, a typewriter replacement, and Sugar got it in the neck at the time. Why has it got a Z80 in it? This needs to be PC compatible. It needs to have MS-DOS or, you know, Digital Research DOS or something on it. And the reality is, 8 million people simply did not care. All they wanted was this appliance that could do word processing, some spreadsheets and other things. And how many people bought those machines and never loaded anything into it other than LocoScript to do word processing?
Arguably a Mac these days.
Arguably a Mac, I mean...
Similar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my Mac over there. I have a Mac for my work because it's better for what I do. And PC people will argue differently, but in actual fact, in this office, there's a Mac over there, there's a PC behind it, and there's a Linux box there. So anyone can start lecturing me about platforms and stuff. Everything is... I've got everything here, and over there's a GX4000. Down here, I can't get at it. What the hell's here? That's an Atari 8-bit, I think. I've got a couple of Spectrum... I don't even... This is my work office. There's stuff hidden in here from Mrs. Chinny. But the point is, you know, I've got different computers for different uses. I've got this Linux box because it's cheap to run, it's small, and it's a little bit underpowered, to be honest, but this thing came bundled with Windows 10 on it. And it was the cheapest option. If I wanted to buy this with Linux on it, it was like 50 quid more. I'm going to be subsidised by Microsoft to buy this box with Windows 10 on it, which was useless and wouldn't do anything. And it wasn't even up to recording audio, which is what I bought it for. Wiped it, went and got the Minix, which is the Minix box, Ubuntu, whatever it's called, install, put that back on there, and it flies. Relatively speaking, it's still not fast, but it can do everything I want it to do. My Windows box does my boring account stuff because the account software runs on that, and it does well, it's my office PC, but actually I use it for some of the emulators where I need to create snapshots on as well. And then my Mac's got Premiere and Adobe Suite on it because I came over from PCs using that because I found them too much of a pain. But it's, yeah, I mean, you use what you use because you want to use it. And these machines, the PCW and what have you, they sold well despite of what people like us thought of their technical specs. But thanks for calling, Ross. Really appreciate it.
Nice to speak to you.
Good to speak to you. Cheers. And if anyone else wants to call, it's chinnyhill10@hotmail.com. I will send you the invite, and I will just go into my Hotmail to check if there's any more. No one at the moment. Our backlog. You can come straight on. You can come straight on if you want to talk live on ChinnyVision late at night. You can come and talk to me. All you need is a computer, a headset, and not even a headset. I can, providing the speaker's not up too high, and a copy of Chrome. You do need Chrome. It doesn't work in, I think it works in Firefox, but Safari, not so goody. So I've missed loads of comments while I was talking to Ross then, so I will have a scroll through and see what I can see and who else is in. Is anyone else? Nikki and Bunty are still in. Nikki and Bunty have sent an email. Have you ended up in the... Oh, Minsky wants to speak to me, and it was ages ago. Oh, you have... 2 people have gone into junk for no reason. Minsky and Nikki and Bunty. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I did not see you there. I'm going to copy and do you there to get Nikki. I'm really sorry to Minsky. Can someone tweet Minsky and say, I'm really sorry. I will invite him after Nikki and Bunty. I don't know who it is. That's the glory of Nikki and Bunty. And Bunty. And I'm going to invite them there. I'm going to paste them there. And after we're done with Nikki and Bunty, I'm going to go in there. Chronosoft has just emailed me as well. But Minsky, if Minsky wants to come on, I can just copy him and get ready to send him a thing. But can someone tell Minsky, please? I'd messed up, sorry. And I'd really like to speak to him and his floating head. So we now have, hopefully, as soon as I hear on my PFL noises from Nikki or Bunty or both, I will fade them up. They are connected. They're here. I can see them. And I'm going to go over now live to somewhere in the heart of England. It's not Emu's Pink Windmill. It's Nikki and Bunty. Hello.
Hello. Hello there.
Oh, there's 2 of them. I know the voices. Nikki, please say hello. I am Nikki.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Hello, Nikki.
Just a moment.
This is so good. This works so well.
It's not Emu. It's in the front. Plug it in
leave the fade up. We're leaving the fade up to hear the bickering because it's like their streams.
Right. It should be okay now.
That's Nikki.
No, I can still hear myself.
If I can go head. Right, Nikki. How's that? Can you hear yourself now?
That's good. Okay, there we are. No, nothing. Still hear myself.
Can you hear me now, Nikki and Bunty?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
And we can hear us.
As long as you speak up, it's fine. I've pressed a special button at this end, and what it does is it does a magic thing called gates you. And that's not a bad thing where you get banned from the internet or something. What it does is it cuts down the background noise, but if you do get quiet, what it will also do is cut you off. That's the magic of it. So how are you this evening?
Well, I've got a sniffle. How are you, Chinny?
I'm absolutely fine. That was Bunty, I believe. And I'm absolutely fine here. My wine, how much wine have I got left? Because Nikki and Bunty's stream is, unfortunately, alcohol-fueled. They're on every Friday night. They do wonderful streams. And I hate Twitch, but they're the only people I watch on there. I watch Mr. P.
That really means a lot, you know. Yeah, we know how much you hate him.
I watch Mr. PSB, but he gaslights me by saying he's doing trains, and it turns out to be horrible 3D things that make me dizzy. But I do enjoy train sim with him as well. But yes, Nikki and Bunty every Friday night, and sometimes phantom streams because I was running in the field on Thursday night, and suddenly I sat down on a stile, as you do, and my phone went bing, because it's got that Twitch app and it tells you when stuff's happening. Nikki's and Bunty are live, and it was just Nikki, and then it just stopped. And I was sitting in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere, all sweaty, and it just I could have listened to that. I was running along and see if that worked, but it didn't work.
So that one was... So I've been playing lots of Jungle Trouble recently, and we did like a 20-minute stream where I completed Jungle Trouble on the hardest difficulty. So I started the stream and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this till completion, and then I managed to do it in 20 minutes. So that was the entire stream.
It was. I mean, it's a fact. I want to play that game because I'd never ever heard of it before you started to play it. And there's a little man. He's like 3 levels, and he runs along, goes past some crocodiles, and then he's got to chop down some trees. And then there's a man who wants to chase you, and then you've got to get up to the top. Look, explain it for me, please.
It's pretty much that. I mean, it's just pure platforming joy distilled into one screen. So it's all very reflex based. You've got to get your timing exactly right. You start off by jumping over a lot of stepping stones. Then you've got to cut down trees. There are monkeys which appear and can kill you or steal your axe. And then there's a little section at the top where you've got to swing a rope across the fire and run and jump across a chasm. And it's only one screen, but it's like a high score attack. So if you... I can hear myself again. It's putting me up.
It's okay. You're absolutely fine. I know it's difficult.
Once you can do it, you can complete it in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Don't look at me like that.
I'm going to play it at some point because we've always got this kind
She's putting me off, everyone.
Synergy going on. Because
the joy of it is just keeping going back and see if you can beat your score the next time and just show off basically on stream because it's extremely difficult.
You did pubs games.
Pure gaming distilled down into 3 little sections. Absolutely wonderful.
You did pub games last night, which was really interesting. And of course, there's the kind of ChinnyVision previews that go on to Patreon. I think I've done the pub game. I did like 5 games you could play in pubs, and I think that's on Patreon. And there's some crossover because Pub Trivia Simulator and Arcade Pool, both of which are superb games. Now, how did you... Arcade Trivia Simulator is a game by Codemasters, 1989 or 90, depending on which version you're playing. It's very much, questions of its time, naturally. Tell the listeners and viewers how you got on with the 1989 trivia.
Do you know what? We didn't do too badly, considering I was 2 when it was released, 2 or 3, depending on version. I was a little bit older. Well, yeah. But yes, I managed to avoid all the sport questions, which is whatever the era is going to be my downfall. But no, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Frustrating the fact that you only ever earn about 10p, and then you die, and that's it.
It's the reaction time. It's the reaction time, especially with modern displays and capture delay. And I'm always whining about it, but I'm literally about a quarter of a second behind when I play these games, and the timings get really hard on those top questions. So you just don't get. I was looking at it, and you were both talking to each other. This question came up, and I thought, if you're talking to each other while this question scrolls past and you're not reading it, too late, far too late.
Yeah, it's just that few seconds where you need to make a decision because it's multiple choice.
Things.
Yeah, we're us throwing our tins of gin everywhere. Just that split second. You think there's 3 answers, so one of them is definitely a no. Then it's a 50-50, and by the time you've thought that far, that's it. Time's up.
It is. It's pretty harsh. I don't think it's quite as bad on CRT, but on any kind of emulator or... And the thing is, with this stuff, is there's 2 things you can notice when I'm doing it. When I've got my CPC then, the internal speaker is on, or the Spectrum, with the internal speaker on. You even press clear or delete on the CPC boot up screen. Boot up screen, what am I saying? Start up screen. You press the button, it's instant on the speaker, and then there's that slight delay when it comes out the TV through the capture or the Spectrum with the same thing. Internal speaker is ahead, and that is a small amount of time. But when I was playing Pinball Dreams, the new version on the CPC, which you need to play because it's really good, and my scores on my Acorn monitor were so much higher than playing it, not just through capture, but also on the LCD directly. Because it's instant reaction, you've got to be instant. And any kind of... I sound like one of these gamers who were always going on about, I'm not moving to CRT or what have you, and minimal lag, but it really is that. There really is any kind of delay on these fast reaction games. Absolutely kills it.
Yes.
Was I going off on one? I do that sometimes.
We agree.
It's fine. We do agree. So that I actually did have a question, which was: is there anything that you think is really missing from modern computers that retro computers have?
Yeah, because
there's one thing which I really, really miss from the days of the Spectrum, which is the manuals you used to get, which detailed everything about the system, including the manual that came with my +3. Basically set up my career. I learned to program from that manual. So is there anything you think that modern systems would benefit from, which the retro stuff had?
Manuals, certainly, but computers were different in those days because there were things you had to learn, or you might want to... Well, there'd be the kind of, here's the load the game in, and then actually, if you want to know a bit more, there's no emphasis on, I look over there on my Mac or my PC, there's no emphasis at all on, do you want to do something a bit more with this? It's like an iron. It goes back to what I was saying about the Amstrad PCW. They're appliances. And you have to actively seek out if you want to do coding or something else with them. Whereas with those computers, what they do, and what I miss, is that computer, we turn it on Amstrad CPC, Amstrad 128K microcomputer, V3, copyright 1985 Amstrad PLC and locomotive software, basic 1.1. And I'm quite dull that I know that stuff. But what I miss is that those next vital words, or word. Ready. Ready. What do you want me to do?
Yes.
That's what I miss. That computer, you and right user, you're not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. What do you want me to do for you? You're not going to be clicking on stuff. You're going to have to type stuff in my language and tell me what you want to do next. And it's such a nice word. Ready. It's just like friendly, and some computers just have a kind of prompt and that's it. Whereas other computers just have that ready. It's like, ready for what? I'm just ready for you. I'm like a lovely lady all laid out, ready to make love to James Bond or something. Do you know what I mean? It's that. And that's the difference. You turn on the Mac and it's like there's this kind of world, and the whole world is there. And you can do it. It's great. The desktop's there. Literally, I've got a tablet here, and it's just like running all this stuff. And Minsky, I'm going to send an invite to you in a second. But it's not. It might as well be a hot point microwave.
Yeah, they're for consumers. You're not meant to create on them. You're not meant to do anything more than the manufacturer says you can do, or the application developer says you can do. It's just, here's some content, consume it, and that's it.
That's it.
Smash capitalism.
And this device does. The Raspberry Pi. You won't be able to see that on the feed, because the feed is like a minute behind. So I'm waving a thing around as if you can see it, which you can't. So what I'm holding in my hand is a blue Raspberry Pi from the video I did the other week. And that's the closest you get with a modern computer to that experience, because you buy it and you have to learn something with it, because it's not going to nanny you like that Windows 10 PC, like that Mac. Yeah. It's not the same thing. It's not that computer where you just turn it on and it says ready. You've got to prep that SD card. What are you putting on that SD card? What case are you putting on it? In fact, I hate the fact they sell these as kits. because I think you should learn, do the lot. It's not building a computer, but you've got to make decisions about, do you want a plastic case? Do you want a big heat sink like I've got here that you can't see at the moment? Still, because I'm not waving it around yet on the feed up there. But you've got to make decisions, and it's like just that kind of decision thing, really. What do you miss? Apart from manuals.
Well, before we go into that, I just I feel like I'm born into this weird sort of void era of so my first console was a SNES, and then PCs with Windows 95 was the first that I started with, and so I was born into that very much. Everything's ready, it's on a plate, you just click what you want, and so I never had to learn anything. And to me, it all is. I look at coding and it's like, I don't know. It's runes. I don't understand what's happening, but it's nice that it is coming round to things like the Raspberry Pi, and the next things like that, because our daughter is 9. I had to think about that. It's terrible. But there are coding clubs, and it's it's starting to come back around to, you can learn this stuff, and because obviously IT is the biggest industry, I suppose, now, isn't it? But so I don't know what do I miss? Not that much, really. It's just nice kind of nostalgic feelings about Windows startup noises and things like that.
Windows startup noises.
Yeah. And error sounds.
As that XP. We can start a couple extra echo on. I think that was XP.
It was beautiful. That moved me.
But, yeah, I mean, Windows 3, which was crap, when that wonderful donated machine that saved my life, the DX4 laptop, the Dell, that Baldy donated the channel. Loads of people have been really kind to the channel over the years, and I thank them all. But Baldy was, of all of them, and Baldy is the one who saved me having some kind of breakdown doing the PC stuff, because I know I should be running some of those games on like 8086 or 286 or something, but the ability to put a 1.44 floppy into that machine that goes from my modern Windows 10 box is just a lifesaver. It is. I'm not having to mess around with 720k floppies in my XP box down there. I can actually do 1.44 floppies, which is
have you ever used
brilliant.
floppy disk?
I have.
Yeah. Exciting. There we go. Bunty trivia for you viewers.
But it's getting those games on for review to, put it on there. And I actually the reason I mention that is because the machine's got Windows 3 on it as well, because he sent me the Windows 3 install. So I installed it, and I got a little bit nostalgic about it before I realised how utterly crap it is compared to Workbench on the Amiga, because it's useless. It's even copying stuff from File Manager. You just suddenly realise, hang on a minute, I can do all this stuff in DOS far quicker than this I beg everyone, go and find File Manager and just use it for a little bit, because I used to use it all the time, and suddenly you realise you can't just drag and drop files, and there's just stuff that just doesn't work logically, and it's like, what is this mess of a thing? But I get slightly nostalgic about Windows, but only for about 3 seconds after it starts up. But well, Nikki and Bunty, thank you so much for calling. Minsky, I'm going to send you an invite in a second, but do check out Nikki and Bunty on Twitch. Subscribe to them. Every Friday night they do retro gaming. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday night you guys do some other stuff that I sometimes pop in on, but it's kind of Mario Kart and other stuff.
Wednesday is Mario Kart and more modern things.
Which frightens me, so, I'm not there, obviously. But, it's all good stuff, because it's the same kind of... you probably get a bit drunker on Friday night, because it's the weekend. But it's really good stuff.
I'm sober on a Wednesday.
And it's a really good community. And that's the thing, community. So thank you guys for that.
So many lovely
brilliant,
people. Really,
brilliant
really.
stuff. And, really good to speak to you. And hopefully I'll be joining you next Friday night. Speak to you soon.
Thank you for having us, Chinny.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Cheers. Thank you. And Minsky, I've just sent you your invite, and then we'll do one more call after that where I will invite Chronosoft, if you're still there, to talk about all the brilliant games you publish, and we can do that. So Minsky, you now have your invite. I'm waiting for you. And what have we got going on in the comments? Because I'm not able to talk to people and actually process stuff on a small screen at the same time. Wagyu is in. Wagyu, please do not do any reviews of The Thing, because this is a family channel. But thank you if you are thinking of doing that stuff. But yeah, we don't want to do that. We have ZX Guesser in still. Blue Tinted Leftback is still in. I'm just going to scroll through these comments. Minsky, you have your invite. Star Load Game and Shut Up for Computer from Geiger Punk. Specky Next Manual. Specky Next is very interesting. I have considered buying one. I didn't back it in the end. I didn't think it was the time to do it. Some people have offered getting one for the channel, but I've got too much on my hands with other stuff, and it's like I'm not going to do it justice, and I don't want to be one of these people who just buys everything. Hello, Minsky. Minsky's connected, but he's got no audio. So again, I'm just going to pop him down. And if he starts talking in my ear, I will come to him. Yeah, so Specky Next is one of those things. I don't think we do much with that on the channel because I just don't think. Minsky's whispering. Hello, Minsky.
Hello.
And how are you, Minsky, the legendary floating head who we cameos in our the real Ghostbusters video, along with Paul Gannon, which amused me immensely. Minsky, what are you up to at the moment?
Trying to fix my PC at the moment.
And I'm going to ask you a question. There's a certain podcast, right? There's a certain podcast, and there's the co-presenter always asks the same question as the follow-up to the introduction. So when did you get your Commodore 64?
I never had a Commodore 64. I don't have one now.
I've always wanted to do that because every week on that podcast, which I love, I've got this mental thing in my head where I'm already asking that question. What was your first computer?
Oof. I think it was a Specky. Well, I had 2600 before that.
Well, that's good. So
I'm getting a lot of feedback in my ears. I'm getting my own voice back.
You shouldn't do. But I can click a button here that's very magic. You see, when you do this for work, what I do is I plan it all weeks in advance, and it's all very planned. I've done a load of podcasts for corporate clients I can't talk about because I signed a thing because I'm meant to look like I work for them, but in actual fact I sorted it all out for them. And you spend weeks planning it, and tonight, about half hour before, I went, why don't we do this? What equipment have I got around to do this? So it doesn't quite work. So you had an Atari 2600. What games did you have on that?
Atlantis, Riddle of the Sphinx, Yar's Revenge.
Yar's Revenge. Now we've got a game I've actually heard of. And Yar's Revenge is quite...
Riddle of the Sphinx and Atlantis were Magic games.
Right.
So not official Atari games.
Yeah. And that's the thing. But Yar's Revenge is a overused phrase, iconic.
Yes. Almost certainly.
And there's not much to it, because you play it and you think, well, yeah, there's not much to it, but it's got that kind of, that thing some of those early arcade games had. It was very simple, but it's actually very, it pulls you in, it ramps up the difficulty.
Well, it's one of the Howard Scott Warshaw games, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just...
Yes.
So...
Along with E.T. Mm.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely... yeah, E.T., which destroyed gaming for everyone apart from us in Europe, basically. And what was your first home computer? So you had a Spectrum, so what did you have on that?
Ooh. Anything I could pirate.
Oh, one of those dirty pirates, I see.
Well, what you were saying about Spectrums earlier.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why it was so popular is because so many other people had it that other people bought it because other people had it.
Yeah.
And they knew they could copy the games off someone else.
Well, look, there's a lot of that because there were people who say, I didn't know any Amstrad owners. I don't know. Nobody in my school had an Amstrad. And yet we had loads because we had an Amstrad dealer in town. So people bought the machines, which meant other people bought the machines. So the guy around the corner had a CPC. There was a girl in my class whose dad had a CPC. And there were other people. And you get these kind of clusters of Spectrum owners, C64 owners, Amstrad owners. And it was all because, A, how much you could pirate the hell out of everything. And B, what was available in your local shop. Because people forget that unlike today where everything is available, it simply wasn't back in the day. It was what you had in your town. Did you have a Tandy? In which case you got the C64 and Spectrum there. Do you have an independent computer dealer? What do they sell? So what did you have in your town and why did that influence on you getting a Specky?
W.H. Smith's, Boots, Millets. Those were the places that had the Mastertronic games.
So they had did they have the computers as well?
Played. And they did have the computers. And Dixon's on the high street had the computers.
Because we had a Boots in town. They sold TVs, didn't sell anything computers. TVs, no computer. I've never understood that.
Yeah. Boots had a line of computers, all running BASIC. So you could put, 10 print IM skill. 20 go to 10. And leave it.
Oh yeah, So that... breaking the computers in Dixon's was I might have formatted an Archimedes hard disk in Dixon's in Bournemouth, but we won't go into that. And it's the fun you could have. They're all locked down today, of course. They're wise to this kind of crazy japes that us oldies got up to.
Oh God, yeah. There were definitely there was a triangle of shops we all used to kind of go to. W.H. Smith and Boots were across the road from each other, and so pop in there, find out what games they had, go across the road, find out what games they had, and pick the best ones for your pocket money.
I didn't have. I mean, I got my CPC and I got a load of. My dad knew an aircraft designer called David, who sadly died a few years ago, who set us up with these 3-inch discs, double-sided, with filled with Amsoft games and all sorts of things. He came down on Christmas Day and helped set up the computer. He didn't have much in his life, to be fair. Speaking to my dad more recently, why did David come round on Christmas Day? Well, basically the pub didn't open until whatever time, so he came round beforehand, and it helped get you going. I didn't have that many pirated games in later years. After your Spectrum, what did you move on to, and was it full of pirated games? Yes. What did you have?
I thought after everything you were talking about a little bit earlier that you needed a bit of Atari ST representation on this stream. So I was an Atari ST owner.
Boo.
But you were right. I got my ST around 87, 88. So it was the time to get an ST rather than an Amiga. So
you had all the games.
Yeah, I had a trading circle, as you do. So eventually somebody got a modem and could connect to the BBSs. and get the pirated discs.
And the modem, that's exotic. That's exotic. I didn't know anyone who had that kind of exotica available to them.
So, you know, the Automation, Pompey Pirates, Medway Boys discs, they all did the rounds.
So we're going to bow down to them because they sustain the channel for the ST stuff. Though those guys, their stuff's the only stuff that actually works. it just works. It's nuts. It's like, I don't think they thought when they were cracking this stuff in like 1989 that would be here in 2020 and there'd be some nutcase running an ST with some kind of unimaginable storage format going, I need a Pompey Pirates crack because their stuff actually works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
some of the automation stuff never worked. Even when it was on the disc originally.
They're another lifesaver. I still won't have a word said against them, although I had a contact. I complained about Top Gun, which I don't think's on the... that's it. It's on. I forget what's on Patreon and what's actually live now. And it didn't work. And somebody who I know their online name now came to me on the Discord and said, I can just sort this out for you, and I used to be a member of, but just don't give my username because I now have a respectable job. So, fair enough. And he fixed it. It's brilliant. It got done. And it's like, I couldn't publicly thank you. All I could do this kind of very vague thing of, thank you to the person who contacted me for fixing this. But,
so after the ST,
I
jumped almost immediately to Sega Mega Drive, and I had a grey import of that by about 1989.
So you won that first kind of early batch of it because people forget this stuff was so late coming over here, the official releases, that
by about 2 or 3 years, I think.
I think the Mega Drive, and people don't shout at me if I'm wrong on this, I think the Mega Drive's first Christmas was when the GX4000 came out in 1990. I think I'm right in saying that. And because the guy in the shop tried to sell me one, and I am loyal to Alan Michael Sugar. And I said, no, I will not have your Altered Beast. I will not have your Space Harrier 2. I want what the future Lord Sugar has deemed for me to be the console of choice. So no, and then he tried to sell me Turtles, which I definitely didn't want because I wasn't 7 years old. That one's going to be fun when I come to review it because I was just a little bit too old for them. There's one kid into our class who was really
cartoon,
into...
yes, but
the comics,
comic is something special.
We had a kid in our class who was really into them, and everyone thought he was a little bit childish. Basically, kind of, really, yeah. I can understand.
I remember seeing an article in Your Sinclair roughly about 1986, 1987 about, there's this weird comic book about Ninja Turtles. So I think I picked up my first issue of it round about then. I would have been about 13, 14.
Yeah.
And it was before the cartoon came out.
In many ways, I mean, the cartoon is a kind of kiddified,
I was totally disappointed by it when I saw it.
It's a different thing, and it's like a lot of these things that, Spider-Man kids cartoon series, jolly good fun when you're 8 years old, but it's not really what the
comics were
about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know the old Konami beat 'em ups. They're not bad. They're not bad for beat 'em ups.
No, and that's different. I mean, I think was it Nikki and Bunty?
That platform game, which might be the one you're reviewing. That ain't great.
No, it's a bit of an odd one. I've been
it's
going
frustrating.
through it. I first saw that on the NES. which I had to do a bit of
Yeah.
capture from, and it was like, oh, that's a fairly good game. When I bought it on the Spectrum because I saw it discounted in Curry's, I think it was like £5 on the New Year's sale. I thought I'd buy that. It got good reviews. And it had a little bit of fun with it. Probe, big colourful graphics. Had an Amiga by that, and I did have an Amiga by that time, and I didn't. But for some reason I just bought it and went, that's okay. Not great, but for a discounted full price game, and it might be one of those Probe games that never came out on budget, possibly.
Isn't there 2 Amiga versions of that?
Yes, there is on the Amiga. Yes, that's going to be in the video. I'm not reviewing the USA version. I will do that token thing where I tag it on the end and go, this is the Amiga USA version, because otherwise there'd just be someone going, why haven't you done it? So yeah, I've done it, but I don't want to review it because it's not an equal. The channel comes from a UK perspective, so really you've got to look at it from what was released, the official version in the UK, and then just give a token nod if you feel like it to the USA version. Same as I did for Afterburner, I think. But Minsky, tell us about your channel, One Credit Champ.
Well, I do a similar thing, really. Well, when it comes to ports for the home and everything, because I'm coming for a UK perspective as well. But I play an arcade game for 1 credit. I try and get as far as I can, and talk a load of rubbish over the top. A bit about the history, bit about the home ports, and then die and put a rude word in the high score table.
And I mentioned channels I watch earlier. I do watch yours, and it's sometimes difficult to kind of remember all the ones you do see, but I do watch yours, and I always want. I think it's a shame he does arcade games, because I'd like him to play Army Moves on the Spectrum. Just see how far we get, how short this video is going to be. Very requested video for me, and not one I can get very far in.
I remember playing it on the ST, not so much on the Specky.
I think it's hard on all dynamic games are nice graphics, incredibly hard. But yeah, absolutely insane. So
those crazy Spaniards.
Crazy Spanners. Well, thank you so much for calling in. And One Credit Champ, check that out on YouTube. Chronosoft, I've sent you the invite. You're going to be the last of the night because it is 20 past midnight. It's very late at night. Minsky, thank you so much. And I'll speak to you soon.
Right.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye. And yeah, I mean, it is getting very late at night, early in the morning light. And what else? Chronosoft, I can see in the comments say you have your invite. You have your invite. I'm very keen to talk to you. Anyone else who emailed after that, I'm afraid it is too late now. I am out of wine. B, I'm very tired. Blue Tented Left Back, I've seen you. We do it again. We do this again sometimes. This has been absolutely brilliant. But, it's really cool to speak to so many absolutely wonderful people. And perhaps I can actually sort out my clean feed system so it queues you up properly. Because it can do that. It can stack you all up and bring you on one after the other. But unfortunately, I've not set this up as well as I could. So as soon as I hear Chronosoft in my ear, he has connected. And he whispers in my ear, we can talk to him. Meanwhile, on the comments, John Pigford is in. He's in for his Zob licensing royalties, so I suppose get 1 per view of ChinnyVision videos. Unfortunately, of course, you're working for Binary Design at the time, and the person who ran Binary Design owns all the rights. In fact, I'm using Zub, not Zob, although it is an absolutely brilliant game. And everyone needs to play Zub because it is so good, and I regret reviewing it so early on in the channel's history. It's like so many games. I look at Supercars, I look at so many other games, and I think, I'd love to review those. Oh, yeah, I did it on episode 7. Chinny, you absolute idiot. So I've literally blown my load with all the Pickford Brothers games. You're right. I'm going to review at some stage, although perhaps when I play it again, I'll like it a little bit more. Perhaps I find it a little bit too complicated. I like the instant gratification of Zub and that kind of depth of feud. They're geniuses, but whisper it, the Pickford Brothers. And we need another magnetic billiards. Chronosoft, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Smooth. We got this thing down to a T now.
I've just found out that turning the volume down on YouTube puts out one of the voices, makes it a bit easier.
That's okay. It is because YouTube is on like a massive delay. So I'm speaking to you now. I'm going to wave my hand in front of the camera, and you're going to see how big the delay is. And so you publish rather superb games. Tell us all about it.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say that. Well, I started about 2002, I think it was, and we've done about 120 games, I think.
And
across lots of different formats: Spectrum, Commodore, ZX81, ZX80, VIC-20.
And these are games you can buy.
Sort of
They're proper games on cassettes, duplicated, that arrive in the same kind of style, not like a big box game used to be, but like a budget game or an earlier Spectrum game used to come.
Yeah, they're all in single dual cases. And we sell them at, normally £6. We're non-profit making, and we try and pay a £1 royalty for every one we sell, for whoever wants to send them in just to publish.
And that's it, because you get, I know, speaking to the Future was 8-bit, that when he does tape games, people go, oh, why can't you sell it at $1.99 like it used to be? It's like, yeah, that was 1986, the raw materials, the printing and all the rest of it. And actually, when you look at it, they would actually be that much in modern money.
Well, probably even less than that, maybe. When I started, I think we was charging $1.99, I think, in 2002. But, costs have gone up. Back then, I was paying something like 20 pence for a blank cassette. And now we're looking at some more, I don't know, £1.60, £1.70. You got printing on top of that and that sort of thing. So costs had to go up, but there you go.
Well, cassettes are a minefield now these days, because back in 2002, you could still get you just go out and buy a ferret cassette, and they were all much of a muchness. And now what you've got is this kind of split market of, you've either got to buy vintage old stock to get that good quality. You see this on Cassette Comeback. It's vintage old stock, or you end up with absolutely rubbish Chinese stuff that is no good to man nor beast, or you've got to get a manufacturer who's still making this stuff at a good quality, which is presumably what you're having to do, which isn't cheap.
Well, the choice we had was either to use the only available cassette that you can buy at the moment, which is probably the Maxell UR90s, when I think they be top production now, or it's to use I can't remember the tape line, I think it's called, that we use to buy our tapes from now. And they're the only UK supplier that I know of that still sell brand new manufactured blank cassettes. Back 10, 15 years ago, there's lots of places doing them. Now, because it's a single person selling them or single business selling them, we're sort of tied to them now.
That's it. And it's really, I know for people who have to duplicate cassettes, let alone the Amstrad people doing floppy, they 3-inch disc people for that Pinball Dream stuff, for the limited run they did for that. I know, there is no stock. It's get hold of the original stuff. And so I know this stuff is a complete nightmare. But what kind of titles you got coming out at the moment?
Right. We've got a game called Tut coming out for the Spectrum next week, which is an actual conversion of a ZX81 game that we released probably 6 months ago. Two people asked if the author could do a Spectrum version of the game, and he did. It's a fairly simple game. I can't remember what else we've got coming out. We've got quite a few of Bob Smith's ZX81 games coming out. I don't know if you know Bob Smith's games like Piracy and One Little Ghost and things like that. He also did some Spectrum games like Sokoban and Farmer Jack Trilogy and that sort of thing. But there's lots of games in the pipeline. They sometimes take quite a few weeks to go through the pipeline. We'll get submitted games, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. If they're good, then we'll sort of set to work on it, and after about 3 or 4 months, if I can get enough done, we'll get it released.
And that's it. It's not. I mean, this stuff is not volume, and it's not.
No.
You're not driving around in Ferraris like Imagine were of this stuff. It's a labour of love, and it is not easy to do.
No.
So, what keeps you at it?
Well, I love doing it. When I started, there was pretty much nobody doing this sort of thing. And now there's a lot more businesses, Bitmap Soft, and there's Monument Microgames. There's various other companies all doing similar sort of things on other systems as well. But it's good fun. It's okay. I mean, it can sometimes be a bit annoying if you've got sort of like 50 orders to get out before tomorrow, and your sort of tape deck's running constantly, because I copy everything myself. It's all done manually.
Yeah.
But, I really love it. But without the hero wish, thank you for reviewing Quadron for us a few months ago.
No, that was a really good game. Quadron was a game developed in about, off the top of my head, because I've reviewed so many games, about 1987, that basically was nearly ready to go, but then didn't get released. And Chronosoft have basically worked with the original programmer to get it out. And it's weird because it's like this game that is straight from 1987, which is really, really good. A very polished, I mean, perhaps things were moving so fast time, perhaps it wasn't a full price game, but certainly an absolutely top notch budget game before they went downhill.
I believe it was due to be Palace Software was due to release it, and I believe it went bankrupt. This is according to the author, because he's the author of Sidetracks. By Beyond Software, I believe. And Palace Software folded, and he abandoned the project and just came back to it later on to finish it off.
I mean, Palace is a weird situation anyway, because of course they went bankrupt and then they suddenly reappeared in 1993. I think they're owned by Titus, and started pumping out games for the Amstrad ST and Amiga and PC. It's like, what the hell's going on? And all these games that Amstrad Action were reviewing, that are like prehistoric too, and giving it great marks. And it turns out that there was no distribution in the UK. Anyway, all the adverts were listing these games that had fantastic reviews by Palace, and turns out there was basically distributors went, no, we don't want to do Amstrad games. It's like Catch-22 when everyone wanted these particular games. But, I mean, do keep up the good work there, because what you do is fantastic. Check out, what's the URL of where they can check out more information?
www.chronosoft.co.uk
www.chronosoft.co.uk. Absolutely brilliant selection of software there for you to buy games just like you would back in the day. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you to John Pickford in Favors. Blue Tinted Left Back is still here. He's asked if he can join, but I'm getting really tired now, so I'd love to have you on, Blue Tinted Left Back. We get you on next time we do this, but we've been going for forever. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm sorry I've not been on top of the comments. It's just a bit much trying to manage all that and all this separate stuff going on. I'm going to unplug it now. Can I unplug it? All this separate stuff going on here with the things. And next time, I will sort it out so that what we can do is stack you all up and I can go one to the other and not have all this messing around. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Can't believe we've had many viewers as we've had. Hopefully this will go on demand and people will see it. ChinnyVision is back on Thursday it will be, I'm going to make it Turbo Outrun. It's going to be Turbo Outrun. It has real life recording. Again, I must say, I will look at the comments later because I've just not been on top of it because it's just a little bit too much to keep that scrolling past and everything else. Thank you so much for watching. It is 28 minutes to midnight. Please remember to turn off your sets. Good night.